What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Health is Hard podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Matt Eichler, and I'm here to help you cut through the noise and find the strategies that actually work for building a stronger, healthier, more resilient you. As a seasoned chiropractor, fitness junkie, and founder of Element X Health and Fitness, I've seen firsthand how confusing and overwhelming the health and fitness landscape can be. That's why I've made it my mission to simplify complex concepts, bust myths, and provide you with actionable tips you can start using today. Each week, we'll dive into topics like optimizing movement, building muscle, bouncing back from injuries, managing pain, managing your mindset, and so much more. Whether you're looking to level up your nutrition game, fine-tune your fitness routine, or just feel better in your own skin, Health is Hard is here for it. I'll do my best to make even the most challenging topics engaging and relatable. I'm hoping you'll be learning, laughing, and leveling up your health every episode. All right, let's dive in. Let the brain gains begin. Remember, the information/opinions provided in these podcasts/videos is/are for entertainment and educational purposes only, and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Everybody, Health is Hard, episode 6. Took a quick little hiatus for 4 or 5 weeks there to get caught up on a bunch of other business obligations and whatnot, but we're back. So I was prepping for this podcast, and I really just wanted to dive deep into the joint health nutrition space and just give people an idea as far as what can be done nutritionally to help support healthy joints, healthy mobility, and aging gracefully with, nice, integrous, robust, mobile joints. And I realized that, I might as well just record the audio version of my Food Moves Nutrition for Nimble Living ebook. Now, this ebook is part of the Empowered Movement add-on bundle, and it's just meant to be another component that adds some value to the Empowered Movement book and program. But I realized that it's a ton of value in here, and I think a lot of people would get a ton of value out of it. So I decided, you know what, instead of, doing a podcast on the same topics, I might as well just read the ebook and create an audio version for the ebook bundle downloaders. So without further ado, here it is. Hope you enjoy it, and I hope you learn a thing or two. Food Moves, Nutrition for Nimble Living. Movement is life. Our ability to move freely without pain or restriction is fundamental to our quality of life, independence, and overall health. Yet as we age or face health challenges, maintaining this mobility can become increasingly difficult. While nutrition plays a crucial role, it's important to understand that it's just one piece of a larger puzzle in maintaining joint health and mobility. Welcome to the Food Moves ebook and guide, your detailed resource for understanding how what you eat, combined with lifestyle factors, can significantly impact your ability to move and maintain healthy joints throughout your lifetime. The importance of mobility. Mobility isn't just about being able to exercise or participate in sports. It's about maintaining the freedom to perform daily activities, from getting out of bed in the morning and playing with your grandchildren. Good mobility contributes to better balance, reducing risk of falls, and helps maintain muscle mass and bone density as we age. Joint health necessities. Our joints are marvels of biological engineering, allowing for smooth, pain-free movement. However, they require proper care, use, and nutrition to function optimally. Key components for joint health include cartilage integrity, synovial fluid quality, bone density, muscle strength and flexibility, tendon and ligament health. Each of these components can be supported through targeted nutritional strategies, but it's crucial to understand that nutrition alone is not enough. The foundation of joint health. Before we delve into specific nutritional strategies, it's essential to recognize that the best nutrition for joints begins with fundamental lifestyle factors. Number 1, comfortable movement. Regular, appropriate movement is crucial for joint health. It helps circulate synovial fluid, stimulates cartilage cells, and maintains muscle strength. Number 2, adequate stimulation. The principle of use it or lose it applies strongly to joints. Movement triggers mechanotransduction, converting mechanical forces into biochemical signals that maintain joint tissues. Number 3, hydration. Proper hydration is essential for maintaining synovial fluid composition and cartilage health. Number 4, sleep and rest. Quality sleep and adequate rest are vital for tissue repair, regeneration, and regulation of inflammation. Number 5, recuperation. Allowing time for recovery between activities helps prevent overuse injuries and allows for tissue repair. The importance of movement for joint nutrition. Even the best nutritional plan can't compensate for lack of movement. Joints, including spinal discs, rely on movement for nutrient delivery and waste removal. The process of imbibition in spinal discs, where nutrients are absorbed through movement and pressure changes, highlights the critical link between physical activity and joint nutrition. We'll come back to this a couple times later. You are what you eat. Joint composition and nutrition. As mentioned already, the human body is a marvel of biological engineering, and nowhere is this more evident than in our joints. These complex structures allow us to bend and move and twist with ease, supporting our daily activities and athletic pursuits. But have you ever wondered what exactly makes up these crucial components of our musculoskeletal system? The components of our joints are highly complex, but to save you the boring lecture, I'm going to try to sum them up into some analogies that are a little bit easier to comprehend. The joint jungle. What's really in there? Let's start with the star of the show, cartilage. This smooth operator covers the ends of your bones, allowing for that buttery smooth movement we all take for granted. But what's it made of? Collagen, the stretchy scaffolding. Imagine cartilage as a sponge with a super strong frame. That frame is collagen, making up about 60% of cartilage's dry weight. It's like the scaffolding that gives cartilage its strength and flexibility. Proteoglycans, nature's shock absorbers. Now fill that sponge with a gooey gel that can hold tons of water. That's essentially what proteoglycans do. They're the reason your cartilage can take a pounding and bounce back. Water, the secret sauce surprise. Your cartilage is mostly water, about 65 to 80%. This isn't just any water. It's crucial for keeping your cartilage springy and shock absorbing. Now, let's talk about the slippery stuff that keeps your joints moving smoothly, synovial fluid. Think of it as nature's WD-40 for your joints. It's comprised of hyaluronic acid, the goo that keeps you moving. This is what gives the synovial fluid its slippery, shock-absorbing properties. As we age, we make less of it, which is why some people turn to supplements. Lubricant, the non-stick coating. If hyaluronic acid is your oil in your joint engine, lubricant is the Teflon coating. It helps keep your joint surfaces gliding over each other with minimal friction. And of course, we can't forget about the bones. They're not just hard, lifeless sticks. They're constantly rebuilding themselves. The bone matrix, more than just calcium. Bones are about 70% minerals, mainly calcium, 22% protein, and 8% water. It's this unique combo that makes them both strong and slightly flexible. Bone remodeling, out with the old and in with the new. Your bones are constantly breaking down and rebuilding. It's like having a construction crew working 24/7 to keep your skeleton in top shape. Lastly, let's give a shout out to the ligaments and tendons. These unsung heroes keep everything in place and allow you to move. The analogy here are collagen ropes. Both are made of collagen, nature's bungee cord. They're super strong but also have some give. Adapt and overcome. The cool thing about ligaments and tendons is that they can adapt to the stress you put on them. So yeah, that workout is actually making them stronger. High quality diet and exercise equals joint fuel. Here's where it gets really interesting. Everything we just talked about, your body builds and maintains it all from the food you eat and the way you use your body. What a concept. Need collagen for strong cartilage? Your body makes it from protein in your diet. Want to keep those bones strong? Calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D are your best friends. Looking to keep inflammation at bay? Omega-3s and antioxidants are on the job. Move them or lose them. As I mentioned earlier, one of the most important nutrients for joint health is a hefty dose of good quality movement. It's like this. Your cartilage doesn't have much of its own blood supply. Talk about high maintenance. So it relies on a process called dynamic diffusion to get nutrients. In simple terms, when you move, you're pushing nutrients into the joints. Let's talk about your spine for a second. Those discs in between your vertebrae, they're like sponges. When you move, they squeeze out old fluid and soak up new, nutrient-rich fluid. It's called imbibition, like we mentioned earlier. It's crucial for keeping your spine healthy. So next time someone tells you to sit still, you can tell them that you're not fidgeting, you're feeding your spine. But sorry to break it to you. Even the best diet in the world can't make up for a sedentary lifestyle. Your joints need movement like plants need sunlight. Without it, you're looking at reduced lubrication, poor nutrient delivery, weakened muscles, and more inflammation. No bueno. But don't worry, I'm not saying you need to run a marathon every day. Even gentle movements can make a big difference. Here are some easy ways to sneak more movement into your day. Set a reminder and move every hour if you're desk-bound. Or, an even better hack is to just crush water all day so you're always getting up and running to the potty. Take your calls standing up, or better yet, walking around. Choose stairs over elevators whenever you can. Park a little further from your destination for some bonus steps. Why not start your day with some gentle joint mobility exercises? Your joints will thank you. Remember, when it comes to joint health, you're not just what you eat, you're also how you move. Your joints are a bit like a high-performance car. You can fill it with the best fuel, that's your nutrition, but if you never take it out for a spin, it's not going to run very well. As we wrap up our brief overview of joint composition, let's hammer into our heads that healthy joints thrive on a perfect marriage of nutrition and movement. While we'll soon explore specific joint-boosting foods and how they support cartilage regeneration, reduce inflammation, improve synovial fluid quality, enhance bone density, and support muscle and tendon health, why not start nourishing your joints right now? How about you stand up, stretch, take a quick walk? Your joints will thank you. And that's also why I've recorded this as an audio, so you can just listen to it while you're moving. And also remember, the key to joint health is a holistic approach. The nutritional strategies we'll discuss in the upcoming chapters work best when combined with regular, appropriate movement, good sleep habits, proper hydration, and stress management. We're about to dive deeper into nourishing your body for optimal mobility and a life of unrestricted movement, always keeping in mind that while food moves us, moving helps food nourish us. But before we jump into the nutritional nitty-gritty, we're going to take a look at Sarah's knees and see how these principles play out in real life. So stay tuned. Your journey to buttery smooth movement is just beginning. The painful path of Sarah's knees. Sarah, a 45-year-old office worker, had always been proud of her active lifestyle. She enjoyed weekend hikes and evening jogs, finding them essential for managing the stress of her desk job. However, over the past few months, she noticed a persistent ache in her knees, particularly after her usual 5K runs. At first, Sarah dismissed the pain as just a sign of getting older. No pain, no gain, she thought, reaching for the bottle of ibuprofen in her medicine cabinet. 2 pills before her run, 2 after, it became her new routine. The pain subsided and Sarah felt victorious. She could keep up with her active life, and that's all that mattered. Weeks turned into months, and Sarah's ibuprofen intake steadily increased. A colleague noticed her wincing as she stood up from her desk one day. "Have you seen a doctor?" they asked. Sarah shrugged it off. "It's nothing serious. The pills take care of it." But the pills were masking a growing problem. Unknown to Sarah, her knee pain was a sign of early osteoarthritis. The NSAIDs were hiding the pain, allowing her to continue her high-impact exercises, which were further damaging her already compromised knee joints. Moreover, the frequent NSAID use was beginning to irritate her stomach lining, leading to occasional bouts of indigestion that she attributed to stress. One Saturday morning, Sarah's world came crashing down. Midway through her usual trail run, her right knee buckled, sending her tumbling to the ground. Her pain was excruciating, far beyond what her trusted ibuprofen could mask. At the hospital, the doctor's questions made Sarah realize how much she'd come to rely on the NSAIDs. How long have you been taking them? How often? What dosage? Sarah was shocked to learn about the potential risks. Increased chance of heart problems, GI issues, and even delayed healing. The MRI revealed significant knee damage, exacerbated by months of overuse that the NSAIDs had allowed. "If you'd addressed this earlier," the doctor explained, "we could have recommended lower impact exercises, physical therapy, and nutritional strategies to support joint health. NSAIDs have their place, but they're not a long-term solution." Sarah's recovery was long and challenging. Physical therapy, dietary changes, and appropriate rest became her new routine. She learned all about natural anti-inflammatory foods, the importance of collagen for joint health, and how certain exercises could strengthen the muscles around her knees without overstressing the joints. As she slowly regained her mobility, Sarah realized that true health wasn't about pushing through pain, but about listening to her body and nourishing it properly. She vowed to spread the word among her friends, sharing her hard-earned wisdom about the limitations of NSAIDs and the importance of addressing the root causes of pain. Sarah's story ended on a positive note, but it served as a wake-up call. Pain isn't an inconvenience to be masked. It's the body's way of signaling that something needs attention. And sometimes the path to true healing doesn't come in a bottle, but through understanding and nourishing our joints in a more holistic way. We'll revisit Sarah a little later after we've learned a little bit more. Next up, and since it seems necessary now, we're going to do a little crash course on inflammation. I realize I'm a nerd for this stuff, and it fascinates me, but rarely does it fascinate everybody else. I'm going to do my best for the rest of this ebook to make it like the Cliff Notes, and therefore you may see some information that's just bullet pointed or sounds kind of bullet pointed, without much commentary, just to keep this thing a little less lengthy and boring. Understanding inflammation, a comprehensive overview. Inflammation is a complex and crucial process in the body that plays a significant role in health, fitness, and joint mobility. It's the body's natural response to an injury, infection, or stress, designed to initiate healing and protection. However, inflammation is a double-edged sword, capable of being both beneficial and detrimental depending on its duration and intensity. Types of inflammation. Number 1, acute inflammation. This is the short-term response characterized by redness and swelling, heat, and pain. It's generally beneficial and necessary for healing, playing a critical role in the body's immune response and tissue repair. Number 2, chronic inflammation. This is a long-term, low-grade inflammation that can persist for months or years. It's often associated with various chronic diseases and can be detrimental to health, particularly joint health. The dual nature of inflammation. While acute inflammation is a necessary part of the healing process, chronic, low-grade inflammation can be detrimental to overall health and particularly joint health. It's associated with various joint disorders, including osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, potentially leading to pain, stiffness, and reduced mobility. Role in health and fitness. Immune function. Acute inflammation is crucial for fighting off pathogens and initiating tissue repair. Chronic disease. Persistent, low-grade inflammation is linked to numerous chronic diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. Muscle growth and recovery. In fitness, acute inflammation following exercise is part of an adaptive process that leads to muscle growth. However, excessive inflammation can impair recovery and performance. Its role in joint mobility. Inflammation significantly impacts joint health and mobility. In acute cases, it's part of the healing process following an injury. Like we've already mentioned, chronic inflammation in conditions like osteoarthritis can lead to joint pain, stiffness, and reduced mobility. It can alter synovial fluid composition, affecting joint lubrication and nutrition. The big dominoes, nutritional strategies for managing inflammation. Nutrition plays a crucial role in managing inflammation, potentially reducing pain and slowing the progression of joint degradation. Certain nutritional strategies act as big dominoes, interventions that can have cascading positive effects on joint health and mobility. Number 1 is adequate protein intake, which is essential for tissue repair and muscle maintenance. Number 2 is omega-3 fatty acids, which help manage inflammation through their anti-inflammatory properties. Number 3 is antioxidants, which combat oxidative stress, which can contribute to inflammation. Number 4 is collagen and its precursors. Obviously, it supports joint tissue health directly. Number 5 is essential vitamins and minerals, which are crucial for bone health and muscle function. And number 6 is hydration, maintains synovial fluid quality and essential for joint lubrication. Briefly, I'm going to show you how to manage inflammation holistically. While nutrition is a crucial piece of the puzzle, managing inflammation effectively requires a holistic approach. Number 1, an anti-inflammatory diet rich in fruits, vegetables, omega-3s, and whole grains. Number 2, regular, moderate exercise has anti-inflammatory effects when done appropriately and at the right dosage. Number 3, adequate sleep, crucial for managing inflammation. Number 4, stress management. Chronic stress can promote inflammation. And number 5 is proper biomechanics and training, which helps manage exercise-induced inflammation and joint stress. Understanding and managing inflammation is key to maintaining overall health, optimizing fitness, and preserving joint mobility. It's about striking a balance, allowing beneficial acute inflammation for adaptation and healing while minimizing chronic detrimental inflammation. By addressing these big dominoes through nutrition and lifestyle choices, we can support our body's natural healing processes, manage inflammation effectively, and maintain our freedom of movement throughout our lives. This comprehensive approach empowers us to make informed choices, supporting our joints and overall health for years to come. Remember, individual responses to inflammation can vary, and it's always best to consult with a healthcare professional for personalized advice, especially when dealing with chronic conditions and implementing new health strategies. Next, we're going to take a look at the inflammatory nature to different foods. Traditionally thought of as inflammatory foods. Number 1, added sugars. Role: triggers the release of inflammatory cytokines. Sources: soft drinks, candies, and baked goods. Research: Burley et al. 2011 found that high fructose consumption increased inflammatory markers. Number 2, trans fats. Role: promote systemic inflammation. Sources: some processed foods, partially hydrogenated oils, etc. Research: Mozaffarian et al. 2004 linked trans fats consumption to increased inflammatory markers. Number 3, refined carbohydrates. Role: rapid blood sugar spikes can promote inflammation. Sources: white bread, white rice, pastries, etc. Research: Dickinson et al. in 2008 found that high glycemic index meals increased inflammation. Number 4, excessive alcohol. Role: can damage gut bacteria and promote inflammation. Research: Wang et al. in 2010 linked heavy alcohol consumption to increase inflammatory markers. Number 5, processed meats. Role: contain advanced glycation end products, AGEs, that promote inflammation. Sources: bacon, sausages, hot dogs, and overcharred meats. Research: Uribari et al. in 2010 discussed the role of dietary AGEs in inflammation. Number 6, seed oils / omega-6 fatty acids in excess. Role: can promote the production of pro-inflammatory eicosanoids. Sources: some vegetables / seed oils, farm-raised fish, processed foods, etc. Research: Simpoulos in 2002 discussed the imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 in Western diets and how it was linked to inflammation. Number 7, artificial food additives. Role: some may disrupt gut bacteria, potentially leading to inflammation. Sources: processed foods and sodas, etc. Research: Chassanin et al. in 2015 found certain emulsifiers can alter gut microbiota and promote inflammation. Number 8, gluten for sensitive individuals. Role: can trigger inflammation in people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. Sources: wheat, barley, rye, etc. Research: Fasano et al. in 2015 reviewed the inflammatory effects of gluten. Number 9, saturated fats. Role: may activate inflammatory pathways. Sources: red meat, full-fat dairy products. Research: Roca et al. in 2016 discussed saturated fats' role in inflammation. Number 10, MSG or monosodium glutamate. Role: may trigger inflammatory responses in some individuals. Sources: particularly Asian foods, canned vegetables, soups, hyperprocessed foods, etc. Research: Zanfirescu et al. 2019 reviewed MSG's potential effects, including inflammation. Now, just hang on for a second because we're going to discuss some of the controversies around foods that are looked at as inflammatory versus anti-inflammatory. It's a bit of a nuanced discussion that we're going to revisit a little bit here, but first we're going to look at foods that are traditionally thought of as anti-inflammatory. So number 1 is fatty fish. Role: high in omega-3 fatty acids, which have anti-inflammatory properties. Sources: salmon, sardines, mackerel, etc. Research: Calder in 2015 reviewed omega-3's anti-inflammatory effects. Number 2 is berries. Role: rich in antioxidants that combat inflammation. Sources: blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, etc. Research: Joseph et al. In 2014 discussed berries' anti-inflammatory properties. Number 3 are leafy green vegetables. Role: contain antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Sources: spinach, kale, collard greens, etc. Research: Coleman and Bone, 2014, reviewed the anti-inflammatory effects of carotenoids in leafy greens. Number 4, nuts. Role: contain healthy fats and antioxidants that reduce inflammation. Sources: almonds, walnuts, pecans, etc. Research: Yu et al. In 2016 found nut consumption was associated with reduced inflammatory markers. Number 5 is olive oil. Role: contains oleocanthal, which has anti-inflammatory properties similar to ibuprofen. Research: Parkinson and Keast in 2014 reviewed oleocanthal's anti-inflammatory mechanisms. Number 6 is tomatoes. Role: rich in lycopene, an antioxidant with anti-inflammatory properties. Research: Gavipour et al. In 2013 found tomato juice consumption reduced inflammation in overweight women. Number 7 is green tea. Role: contains EGCG, a potent anti-inflammatory compound. Research: Ohishi et al. In 2016 reviewed green tea's polyphenols' anti-inflammatory effects. Number 8, turmeric. Role: contains curcumin, a powerful anti-inflammatory compound. Research: Daly et al. In 2016 found turmeric extract effective for treating arthritis symptoms. Number 9, ginger. Role: contains gingerols, which have anti-inflammatory properties. Research: Mashadi et al. In 2013 reviewed ginger's anti-inflammatory and antioxidative effects. Number 10, dark chocolate. Role: contains flavonoids with anti-inflammatory properties. Research: Katz et al. In 2011 found dark chocolate consumption reduced inflammatory markers. These foods can play significant roles in either promoting or reducing inflammation in the body, which can directly affect joint health and pain levels. The anti-inflammatory foods in particular may help reduce chronic low-grade inflammation associated with various health issues, including joint problems. Remember, individual responses to foods can vary, and a balanced diet incorporating a variety of anti-inflammatory foods is generally recommended for optimal health. Always consult with a healthcare professional or registered dietitian for personalized strategies. The anti-inflammatory food controversy. I approach the inflammatory food debate with a balanced view that considers both scientific evidence and wisdom of traditional diets. The concept of inflammatory foods is often oversimplified, ignoring the complex interplay between nutrition, lifestyle, and individual biochemistry. Firstly, it's crucial to understand that inflammation isn't inherently bad. We've been over this. It's a natural bodily response that can either be beneficial in the acute phase or sometimes harmful in the chronic phase. Our goal should be to support the body's natural inflammatory processes, not to eliminate inflammation altogether. When examining the research on inflammatory foods, we find that context is key, like dairy. While some individuals may experience inflammation from dairy, studies show that for many, dairy consumption is associated with anti-inflammatory effects. The key is understanding your own body's response. Nightshades, like tomatoes. Despite claims of inflammatory properties, tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant. Many traditional diets that include nightshades are associated with longevity and reduced inflammation. Gluten. For those with celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, gluten can indeed be inflammatory. However, whole grains containing gluten have been staples in many healthy traditional diets for centuries. Omega-6 fatty acids. These are essential nutrients, not villains. The problem arises from an imbalance with omega-3s. Common modern diets, heavy in processed foods, swing dramatically towards omega-6 dominance, sometimes 25-50 to 1. Sugar. While excessive added sugar can promote inflammation, naturally occurring sugars in whole fruits and vegetables come packaged with fiber and other nutrients that help modulate their effects. See, context matters. From a holistic perspective, we must consider individuality. Each person's response to foods can vary based on genetics, gut microbiome, and overall health status. Food quality. A tomato from an organic garden is not the same as a tomato powder in a processed food product. Preparation methods. Traditional food preparation techniques like fermentation or soaking can alter a food's inflammatory potential. Overall dietary pattern. Single foods don't act in isolation. The Mediterranean diet, for example, includes many foods that work synergistically to reduce inflammation. Lifestyle factors. Stress, sleep quality, and physical activity all influence how food affects our body's inflammatory processes. Instead of labeling foods as good or bad, focus on eating a diverse array of whole, minimally processed foods, emphasizing plant-based foods rich in phytonutrients and fiber, choosing high-quality protein sources, including fatty fish for omega-3s, incorporating anti-inflammatory herbs and spices like turmeric and ginger, listening to your body and noting how different foods make you feel, managing stress and prioritizing sleep, which both impact inflammation. In the end, while it's tempting to seek out simple eat this, not that lists for joint health, the reality is more nuanced. By understanding this complexity, we can make more informed, balanced choices. A varied diet rich in whole foods tailored to your individual needs and preferences is likely the best approach for supporting joint health and overall well-being. Remember, in nutrition, especially when it comes to joint health, the truth often lies not in the extreme good versus bad categorizations, but in sensible, balanced approaches that stand the test of time and align with the best available scientific literature. The bad guys that we can probably all agree on. Hyper-palatable processed foods. All right. After all that nuanced discussion about inflammatory foods, let's have a little chuckle and talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the bag of chips on the couch. While we've learned that labeling foods as strictly good or bad is oversimplifying things, there's one category that consistently earns a spot on my personal naughty list: hyperpalatable processed foods. You know the ones I'm talking about, those irresistible snacks that seem to whisper, "Eat me," from the pantry at midnight. The ones that make you wonder if just one more is a serving size. Yeah, those guys. The usual suspects. These foods typically include hyper-processed carbohydrates, I'm looking at you, cheese puffs, industrial seed oils that would make your great-grandmother scratch her head, a chemical cocktail that reads like a science experiment gone wild. Now, I'm not here to completely demonize these foods. We've all indulged and life's too short not to enjoy a treat now and then. But here's the kicker. These foods are literally designed to make us overeat them. It's not just a lack of willpower. It's science, baby. The science of, I can't stop eating these. Let's break down why these foods are so darn hard to resist. The bliss point. Food scientists have perfected what's called the bliss point, the optimal combination of sugar, salt, and fat that makes our brains go, wow, this perfect storm of tastiness bypasses our natural satiety signals, leading us to eat more than we need to. Texture and mouthfeel. Ever wonder why you can't just stop at one chip? The way these foods dissolve in your mouth is carefully engineered to avoid triggering the I'm full response, a phenomenon known as vanishing caloric density. Flavor complexity. Many whole foods have a dominant flavor that eventually leads to sensory-specific satiety. Processed foods, however, combine multiple flavor layers that keep your taste buds interested longer. Speed of consumption. These foods are often easy to eat quickly. Studies show that faster eating leads to higher calorie intake before your body can signal fullness. Nutrient void. Despite being calorie-dense, many of these foods lack essential nutrients. This nutritional emptiness can lead to continued hunger and cravings. The overconsumption crisis. Here's where the laughter fades a bit. This carefully crafted deliciousness has contributed significantly to what I believe is the number one diet-related issue in this country: overconsumption. The stats are sobering. Over 70% of American adults are overweight or obese. Ultra-processed foods make up about 60% of the calories in the average American diet. Increased consumption of ultra-processed foods is associated with higher risks of obesity, cardiovascular disease, and all-cause mortality. The problem isn't just that these foods are calorie-dense. It's that they're designed to make us want more, leading to a cycle of overconsumption that we just talked about. So what's the take-home message? I'm not saying you should never touch a processed snack again. That's neither realistic nor fun. But being aware of how these foods are designed to affect us can help us make smarter choices. These hyper-palatable foods often contribute to inflammation and weight gain, both of which wreak havoc on our joints. Here's your joint-friendly game plan. Focus on crowding out, not cutting out. Add more whole foods to your plate rather than obsessing over eliminating treats. When you do indulge, be mindful, savor each bite, and tune into your body's fullness cues. Get label savvy and keep healthy snacks on hand to fend off those processed food cravings. Next, let's look at some specific foods and supplements that are helpful for joint health and mobility. Helpful foods and subs for joint health and mobility. Number 1 is collagen. Function: major component of cartilage, tendons, and ligaments. Sources: bone broth, fish, chicken skin. Supplement form: hydrolyzed collagen peptides. Research: Clark et al. In 2008 found collagen hydrolysate supplementation improved joint comfort in athletes. Dosage: studies often use 10 to 14 grams per day. Number 2 is vitamin C. Function: it's essential for collagen synthesis. Sources: citrus fruits, berries, bell peppers, and broccoli. Research: DeFilippo et al. In 2018 highlighted its importance in musculoskeletal health. Dosage: the RDA is 65 to 90 milligrams, but higher doses, up to 2,000 milligrams, are often used for therapeutic purposes. Note: it's water-soluble, so the excess is usually just excreted through your urine. Number 3, omega-3 fatty acids. Function: anti-inflammatory, and they support joint lubrication. Sources: fatty fish like salmon and mackerel, flax seeds, chia seeds. Supplement forms include all different kinds of omega-3 fatty acid profiles. So usually fish oils and algae-based omega-3s, but there's all kinds of different omega-3 type fatty acid capsules. Research: Senftlieber et al. In 2017 found marine omega-3s reduced joint pain intensity in rheumatoid arthritis. Dosage: 250 to 500 milligrams combined EPA and DHA, which are the main fatty acids in your standard omega-3 fatty acid fish oil, daily for general health. Higher doses may need to be considered for specific conditions. Number 4, glucosamine. I get asked about this one all the time. Function: supports cartilage health and joint lubrication. It's typically taken as a supplement. Research: Zhu et al. In 2018 found that glucosamine use was associated with a 20% reduction in osteoarthritis progression over 4 years. It's often combined with chondroitin in supplements. Dosage: typically 1,500 milligrams daily for osteoarthritis or arthritic type complaints. Number 5, chondroitin. Function: helps maintain cartilage elasticity. As we just talked about, it's often combined with glucosamine in supplements. Research: Singh et al. In 2015 found a small but significant effect on osteoarthritis pain. It may take 2 to 4 months to see results. Dosage: usually 800 to 1,200 milligrams daily. Number 6, MSM, methyl sulfonylmethane. It's one of my favorites. Function: supports collagen production and joint flexibility. It's typically taken as a supplement. The research: Budawan et al. In 2016, or 17 actually, found potential benefits for exercise recovery and joint pain. It may have antioxidant properties, and the dosage studies often use 1.5 to 6 grams per day, and that's a lot if you're taking it as a supplement. Number 7, turmeric or curcumin. Its function: as a potent anti-inflammatory, can be consumed as a spice or in supplement form. The research: Daly et al. In 2016 found efficacy in treating arthritis symptoms. Often combined with black pepper to enhance the absorption. Dosage: studies use 500 to 2,000 milligrams of turmeric extract per day. And I have seen personally, this stuff takes a while to build up in your system, and you do need a significant amount of it. Too many people try turmeric or curcumin, and they don't take enough, and they don't take it for long enough. Vitamin D, another one of my favorites. Its function is to support bone health and muscle function, but it has a ton of other functions as well that are not highlighted here in this guide. Sources: sunlight exposure, fatty fish, egg yolks, fortified foods. I have read some research that about 30 minutes of sun exposure with 80% of your body exposed is enough to create about 10,000 IUs of vitamin D. It depends on skin color. Obviously, the lighter skin colors absorb the vitamin D a little easier. Darker skin colors do not absorb it as well. So I typically have more of my darker skin patients definitely get their vitamin D levels checked, especially if they're dealing with chronic pain. It's often taken as a supplement, especially in low sunlight areas. Research: Gao et al. In 2017 found that vitamin D deficiency was associated with a 2.6 times higher risk of knee osteoarthritis progression in older adults. Dosage: the RDA is 600 to 800 IUs, but many experts recommend higher doses. We're going to talk about RDAs in a little bit because the RDA is typically the baseline level that you should be getting in per day to minimize the risk of deficiency. But there can sometimes be a huge discrepancy between avoiding deficiency and optimizing levels or optimizing the dosage so you actually see significant benefit from taking vitamin D. Number 9 is calcium. Function: it's essential for bone health. Sources: dairy products, leafy greens, fortified plant milks. Research. Weaver et al. In 2016 provided guidelines on calcium intake for bone health. It's best absorbed when taken in smaller doses throughout the day. The dosage, or the RDA, I guess, is 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams for adults. Calcium is not a supplement I recommend that often, considering we usually get enough calcium in our diet. This is just to highlight that it is an important nutrient that we do need to be getting in for optimal, joint health. However, I hardly ever recommend it as a supplement. But one that I do have people focus on quite a bit more is number 10 here, magnesium. Its function is important for muscle function and bone health, and it has a bunch of other functions in our body. There's a ton of different biological mechanisms that rely on magnesium to optimally happen in your body. Sources: nuts, seeds, leafy greens, whole grains. Research: Welch et al. In 2017 found positive associations between bone mineral density and magnesium intake. And like I said, it plays a role in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. The dosage, or the RDA, is 310 to 420 milligrams for adults, but I've seen research that shows there's a calculation you can do where you take your weight in kilograms and times it by 10.6, and that gets you to kind of your optimal dosage of magnesium for each day. For me, it equals about 960 some milligrams, and this is obviously to optimize your magnesium levels, which has a huge downstream effect on multiple biological functions. Number 11 is vitamin K2, and this is often in supplements with vitamin D. Its function helps direct calcium to bones and away from soft tissues. Sources: fermented foods, egg yolks, some cheeses. It's often taken as a supplement. Research: Shea et al. In 2015 found that vitamin K2 supplementation reduced the progression of osteoarthritis and cartilage damage in a rodent model. There's two main forms. There's MK4 and MK7, with MK7 having a longer half-life. The dosage is typically 100 to 300 micrograms daily. Number 12 is hyaluronic acid. Function: major component of synovial fluid, provides joint lubrication. Can be taken as a supplement or applied topically. Research: Bowman et al. In 2018 found potential effectiveness for knee osteoarthritis. When you see all these knee studies, you also have to understand that they're studying that joint specifically because it's kind of an easy joint to study. So sometimes they do studies there, and they kind of hopefully try to conclude something that can be more of a systemic conclusion where it could be applied to other joints and whatnot. Just quick little disclaimer about seeing all these knee osteoarthritis studies. Hyaluronic acid is also used in skincare for its moisturizing properties. The dosage: studies often use 80 to 200 milligrams daily for oral supplements. Number 13 is just protein. Good old protein. We all know the function of protein. It's essential for muscle repair and maintenance. Sources like lean meats, fish, eggs, legumes, dairy. Research: Carbone and Pasiakos in 2019 discussed its importance for musculoskeletal health and aging. Quality and timing of intake are sometimes important factors. We're not going to get into that right now, but the dosage, the RDA, is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, but athletes and older adults may need more. I think a good general rule of thumb is always a gram per pound of lean body mass. So let's say I'm 200 pounds and I'm 15% body fat. I would need like 170 grams, just quickly doing the math there. Number 14, antioxidants, vitamin A, E, and polyphenols. Function: they protect against oxidative stress and inflammation. Sources: colorful fruits and vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Research: Fusco et al. In 2017 discussed their role in exercise-induced muscle damage. Antioxidants work synergistically in your body for a whole host of different biological functions. But antioxidants basically help clean up oxidative stress byproducts or oxidation byproducts, which lead to all kinds of stuff that you really don't want for the most part. And the dosage, it really varies by the specific antioxidant, but it's probably best to try to get these from your diet with lots of fruits and vegetables. The main antioxidant vitamins are vitamin A, C, E, and selenium actually is a mineral, but those are the main antioxidants. And polyphenols are just typically little micronutrients that are in plants that tend to really help support the antioxidant activity in your body. Number 15 is zinc. Zinc's primary function: it's important for protein synthesis and tissue repair. Sources include oysters, beef, pumpkin seeds, lentils. Research: Magini et al. In 2018 discussed its role in immune function and inflammation. It's essential for wound healing and immune function. The dosage, the RDA is 8 to 11 milligrams for adults, but we're going to get into talking about the RDAs, which are the recommended dietary allowance right now. So the RDAs are the average daily level of intake sufficient to meet the nutrient requirements of nearly all 97 to 98% of healthy individuals. It's important to understand that, 1, the RDA is designed to prevent deficiency, not optimize health. Number 2, it's a minimum standard, not necessarily an optimal level. Number 3, individual needs can vary greatly based on genetics, lifestyle, and health status. Many nutrition experts argue that optimal intake of many nutrients is often higher than the RDA. For example, here's a few quotes. Chris Kresser, a functional medicine practitioner, the guy that I studied my functional medicine underneath, he states the RDA is the minimum amount required to prevent deficiency diseases, not the amount required for optimal health. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a biomedical scientist, she's all over a bunch of big podcasts. She's been on Rogan a bunch of times. She often discusses how genetic variations can significantly increase an individual's need for certain nutrients well above the RDA. Here's Dr. Mark Hyman, a functional medicine advocate. He says the RDA is often way too low and is just enough to avoid deficiency diseases like scurvy or rickets. Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist, frequently discusses on his podcast how certain nutrients, when taken at higher doses than the RDA, can have significant benefits for brain function and overall health. Here's some examples of potentially higher optimal intakes. So vitamin D, while the RDA is 600 to 800 IUs, many experts recommend anywhere between 2,000 and 5,000 IUs for optimal health. I'm one of them. Vitamin C, the RDA is 65 to 90 milligrams, but some research suggests 500 milligrams or more for optimal immune function. Magnesium, the RDA is 310 to 420 milligrams, but many experts recommend up to 600 to 800 milligrams for optimal health. And then I discussed that calculation you can do where you take your body weight in kilograms, times it by 10.6, and that's probably your optimal intake. I would err just on the side of caution, just slightly, maybe 100 milligrams below that, and I think you would be getting an optimal level of magnesium. But it's crucial to note that while higher doses can be beneficial, they should be taken under professional guidance, as excessive intake of some nutrients can have adverse effects. Always consult with a healthcare provider before significantly changing your supplement regimen. So I know we left the inflammation discussion a while ago. However, I wanted to include some information about common anti-inflammatory drugs that we often take or are prescribed to keep some things in perspective. That's up next. COX-2 inhibitors and NSAIDs, an expanded review. Cyclooxygenase, COX, enzymes play a crucial role in the production of prostaglandins, which are involved in inflammation, pain, and fever. These are two types of COX enzymes. Number 1, COX-1 is generally present in most tissues and involved in normal cellular processes. Number 2, COX-2 is primarily induced in the response to inflammation. NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, work by inhibiting these COX enzymes. Traditional NSAIDs like ibuprofen and naproxen inhibit both COX-1 and COX-2, while selective COX-2 inhibitors like Celebrex primarily target COX-2. Potential dangers of NSAID use. Number 1, gastrointestinal GI issues. Traditional NSAIDs can cause gastric irritation, ulcers, and bleeding. Research. A meta-analysis by Castelsegu et al. In 2012 in Drug Safety found that all NSAIDs increase the risk of upper GI complications. Number 2, cardiovascular risks. Both traditional NSAIDs and COX-2 inhibitors may increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. Research. A 2013 study by Coxib and traditional NSAID trialists collaboration in The Lancet found that high-dose NSAID use was associated with increased vascular and GI risks. Number 3, kidney problems. NSAIDs can affect kidney function, potentially leading to acute kidney injury. Research. A review by Weldon and Hamilton in 1991 in the American Journal of Medicine discussed NSAID-induced renal dysfunction. Number 4, delayed healing. NSAIDs may interfere with the healing process, particularly in bone and tendon injuries. Research. A study by Cohen et al. In 2006 in Foot and Ankle International found that NSAID use was associated with non-union in foot and ankle arthrodesis, which is a surgical procedure that permanently fuses two bones together. Number 5, increased bleeding risk. NSAIDs can interfere with platelet function, increasing bleeding risk. This is particularly important in surgical contexts. Number 6, asthma exacerbation. Some individuals with asthma may experience worsening of symptoms with NSAID use. Number 7, the potential for overuse. Easy access to over-the-counter NSAIDs may lead to overuse and increased risk of adverse effects. Specific concerns with COX-2 inhibitors. Number 1, cardiovascular risk. The selective COX-2 inhibitor, Vioxx, was withdrawn from the market due to an increased cardiovascular risk. Research. A 2005 study by Solomon et al. In the New England Journal of Medicine found increased cardiovascular risk with Vioxx use. Number 2, delayed bone healing. COX-2 plays a role in bone healing, and its inhibition may delay this process. Research. A study by Simon et al. In 2002 in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that COX-2 inhibitors impaired fracture healing in rats. Number 3, potential masking of inflammation. By reducing pain and inflammation, COX-2 inhibitors might mask important symptoms, potentially leading to overuse of injured tissues. Balancing benefits and risks. While NSAIDs and COX-2 inhibitors can be effective for managing pain and inflammation, their use should be carefully considered. And these bullet points are fairly obvious, but 1. Short-term use is generally safer than long-term use. 2. The lowest effective dose should be used for the shortest duration necessary. Number 3. Individual risk factors, like age and medical history, have to be considered. Number 4. Alternative pain management strategies, like physical therapy, chiropractic, certain supplements, etc., might be better for long-term pain management. And oh wait, though it's not technically an NSAID, we can't forget about acetaminophen or Tylenol. Some of the dangers with Tylenol use include liver toxicity. Acetaminophen overdose is a leading cause of acute liver failure in the United States. Research. According to the FDA, acetaminophen accounts for more than 50% of medication-related liver failure cases and nearly 20% of liver transplant cases. Whoa. Next, kidney damage. Long-term use of acetaminophen may increase the risk of kidney disease. Research. A study by Kelker et al. In 2012 found an association between acetaminophen use and kidney dysfunction. Cardiovascular risks. Regular use of acetaminophen may be associated with increased blood pressure. Research. A study by Turtle et al. Turtle, that's awesome. In 2013 found that regular acetaminophen use was associated with increased hypertension risk. In conclusion, while NSAIDs, acetaminophen, and COX-2 inhibitors can be useful tools for managing pain and inflammation, they come with significant potential risks. Their use should be carefully considered and monitored, especially for long-term management of chronic conditions. This further supports the importance of good quality nutrition, as we've been discussing, in our pain relief and joint support efforts. Always consult with a healthcare professional about the most appropriate pain management strategy for your individual situation. The wiser path of Sarah's knees. Let's revisit this story and put a better twist on it. Sarah, a 45-year-old office worker, had always been proud of her active lifestyle. She enjoyed weekend hikes and evening jogs, finding them essential for managing the stress of her desk job. However, over the past few months, she'd noticed a persistent ache in her knees, particularly after her 5K runs. Instead of immediately reaching for the ibuprofen, Sarah decided to consult a sports physiotherapist. The therapist assessed her movement patterns and identified some muscle imbalances and weaknesses that were contributing to her knee pain. Together, they developed a more intelligent training plan consisting of 1. Strength training. Sarah incorporated progressive resistance training into her routine, focusing on exercises like squats, lunges, and leg presses to strengthen the muscles supporting her knees. She started with bodyweight exercises and gradually added resistance as her form and strength improved. Number 2, low-impact cardio. She reduced her high-impact running and introduced low-impact alternatives like swimming and cycling, which allowed her to maintain cardiovascular fitness without overstressing her joints. Number 3, flexibility and mobility work. Sarah learned the importance of proper warm-up and cool-down routines, including dynamic stretching and foam rolling to improve her joint mobility and muscle flexibility. Number 4, proper form and technique. With guidance from her physiotherapist, Sarah focused on improving her running technique, ensuring proper foot strike and knee alignment to reduce unnecessary stress on her joints. Alongside her new training regimen, Sarah also overhauled her nutrition with a few key principles she followed to the best of her ability most of the time. Number 1, an anti-inflammatory diet. She increased her intake of omega-3 rich foods like salmon, sardines, and chia seeds while reducing processed foods and sugars known to promote inflammation. Number 2, collagen support. Sarah started consuming bone broth and added a high-quality collagen supplement to her diet to support joint health. Number 3, antioxidant-rich foods. She incorporated more colorful fruits and vegetables into her meals, particularly berries and leafy greens to combat oxidative stress. Number 4, hydration. Sarah made a conscious effort to increase her water intake, understanding its importance for joint lubrication and overall health. Number 5, vitamin D and magnesium. She ensured adequate intake of these nutrients through sunlight exposure, fatty fish, and leafy greens to support bone health. As weeks turned into months, Sarah noticed significant improvements. Her knee pain gradually subsided, and she felt stronger and more stable during her workouts. She was able to enjoy her weekend hikes without discomfort quickly, and even started participating in local 5K events pretty fast, albeit with a smarter approach to training and recovery. Most importantly, Sarah learned to listen to her body. She recognized that pain wasn't something to push through or mask with medication, but a signal to adjust her training or seek professional advice. Sarah's colleagues noticed the change. "You seem different," they remarked. Sarah smiled, explaining how her new approach to training and nutrition had transformed not just her physical health, but her overall well-being. She no longer relied on NSAIDs to get through her day or her workouts. Inspired by her success, some of Sarah's coworkers began asking for advice. She happily shared her experience, emphasizing the importance of proper form, balanced training, and nutrition for joint health. She even organized a lunchtime walking group, encouraging her colleagues to incorporate more movement into their workday. As she prepared for her first half marathon, a goal she once thought impossible due to her knee issues, Sarah reflected on her journey. She realized that true fitness wasn't about pushing through pain or relying on quick fixes. It was about nourishing her body, training intelligently, and respecting her limits while gradually expanding them. Sarah's story became an inspiration in her office and running club. It served as a powerful reminder that with the right approach to training, nutrition, and overall health, it's possible to overcome joint issues and achieve fitness goals without relying on NSAIDs or risking long-term health. Take a bow, Sarah. And I think that's the perfect conclusion to the audio version of this ebook. If you have the actual ebook, I go into another 17 pages of my favorite supplements and formulas for joint health, with clickable links and descriptions and resources to understand a little bit more about them. Quickly here, I will just list them. The first one are fish oils or omega-3s. I love a product by Legion called Triton. In the ebook, you'll see there's dosage and frequency recommendations. The next one is turmeric or curcumin. We talked a lot about that. It talks about dosage and frequency in there as well. The next one is collagen protein or collagen peptides. Gives you more information on dosage and frequency there. Vitamin D is the next one. Talks a little bit more, expands on the ideas about vitamin D that we already discussed. Talks about dosage and frequency. The next one is CBD and how CBD creams and tinctures and those kind of things can really help manage inflammation and benefit you a number of different ways. Next, we just got a good old multivitamin. One of my favorites is called Triumph by Legion Athletics. I also love Life Extensions 2 per day capsules. I think that a multivitamin is a staple. We just don't get the right nutrition with our food these days. Even if you're eating a very fantastic joint supportive anti-inflammatory diet, it's just hard to get enough. Next is magnesium. I think that we need to supplement magnesium. It's hard to get it from food these days. There's just not enough. I go into the different forms of magnesium and what they're best for. I also touch on dosage and frequency there, but like we talked about earlier, you want to try to aim for your weight in kilograms times 10.6, then maybe minus 50 milligrams or so. I've just saw the calculation in here. Mine actually comes out to 987 milligrams. So next supplement in here is zinc magnesium aspartate or ZMA. It's just another way to get some of that magnesium in. You take it for before bed, and I've found that it really helps me sleep. I get into a deeper sleep. Maybe I'm achieving more of that REM sleep, and I get a little bit of a testosterone boost out of this. I can kind of tell, but the research on this may be somewhat negligible as a testosterone booster, but it talks about dosage and frequency in there. But I've loved ZMA for a long time. Next supplement in there is a post-workout. So I love Recharge by Legion Athletics. Has some creatine, has some carbohydrates, has some branched-chain amino acids, has betaine, and also tart cherry juice, which also is another anti-inflammatory antioxidant. And that's one that we didn't touch on much in this guide or this ebook, but it has been shown clinically to reduce muscle soreness. And I just love Legion Athletics' products. I feel like they put all the BS aside and they only focus on the clinically effective dosing and the clinically effective nutrients and supplements to make sure that you're just getting what you pay for, and they're not, overhyping the marketing. They're just trying to focus on high quality products. So that's why I've decided to work with them. So I work with Legion as an affiliate. You can use code DRE when you check out. Usually for your first order, it gives you 20% off, and then subsequent orders, it gives you, I think, double loyalty points, which eventually gives you free products, but we'll keep going here. So another product that I think would be beautiful for somebody to create would be some sort of joint support stack. And if the joint support stack had these things in it, I would be like, this is a no-brainer. You have to be taking this. But glucosamine, chondroitin, MSM, hyaluronic acid, collagen, turmeric, and omega-3s. We basically talked about all of those as kind of the big needle movers as far as joint nutrition, as far as joint health. And I haven't found a product that really hits all of those with the clinically effective doses, but Legion does have a product called Fortify. And the Fortify supplement does hit a majority of those. So it has curcumin or turmeric at a decent dose as far as clinically effective dosing. It has collagen, the type 2 collagen that's more important for consuming to make sure that you are getting enough to create the collagen support that you need. And it has grapeseed extract, has agmatine sulfate. All these things have been clinically shown to basically improve joint health in some way, shape, or form. Also in the ebook, I have included a couple of resources, kind of a whole page dedicated to some good social media follows. I follow most of these people on Instagram. That's where I'm most active on social media. But some of them are at Dr. James Dinick. So Dr. James, Dinic. One of my favorite follows for just deep dive nutrition stuff. He's always talking about collagen and certain vitamins and minerals that are just supportive for all kinds of healthy functioning of your physiology, I guess. And he's really good. He's written a handful of books. He has an entire book called The Collagen Cure, where I learned a ton of stuff about collagen, and he's just fantastic. So definitely go check him out, Dr. James Dinick. The next one would be at Dr. William Wallace. He is just fantastic with the biochemistry of nutrition, the deep dive stuff that, he creates awesome little infographics and stuff where he explains how certain nutritional vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, all these different things play a huge role in different biological functions. Awesome follow. I love his stuff. I think I have the post notifications on for him. So when he posts something, I get notified. So I love Dr. William Wallace. I think he's a PhD nutrition science guy. The next one is at Chris Kresser. Chris spelled like it normally is. Kresser is spelled Kresser. He is who I've done my functional medicine training underneath. He's fantastic as far as keeping one hand kind of in the literature and the research, but also being very open-minded to the limitations of the research, especially when it comes to nutrition. But fantastic. I can't, applaud him enough for what he's done in the space. He's awesome. That's why I chose to do the functional medicine training with him. Paid a pretty penny to get the functional medicine training done with him. So next one would be at Ben Greenfield Fitness. Ben Greenfield is just a maverick. He's just a stud when it comes to nutrition and all things like biohacking. He would probably be like the world's top biohacker, trying to figure out how to optimize his physiology to the best he can via current technologies and nutritional hacks and all these different things. So he's awesome. He has a podcast too. I think it's called the Ben Greenfield Fitness Podcast. So next one was at Chris Masterjohn. He's a little bit more heady. He's a PhD nutrition science guy too. Goes deep into micronutrients and their physiological roles and whatnot. I think that he has great information, but it might be a little bit more catered to the more advanced crowd that understands nutrition a little bit more. There's just layers to this, So next one is Active Life RX. I think this guy's a fellow chiropractor who's created more of a fitness brand. I'm not sure his details, but I love the stuff he puts out. It's just short, punchy content about the fundamentals of health and fitness. Really great motivational type stuff. Next one is at Legion, because that's the company. That's Legion Athletics. They put out a ton of great stuff. They have a ton of great resources on their website. And I can't commend Legion enough for just what they're doing in the nutritional product space. And then the last one is at BioLane. This guy is more of a fat loss guy. I know him personally. He talks a lot about the research in the world of nutrition and keeps everything kind of grounded in the research, not getting too caught up in all the fads and the, sensational stuff that the media wants to prop up. BioLane is a great guy. His name's Dr. Lane Norton. Fantastic guy. I've been following him for maybe more than a decade. So it was cool to kind of finally meet him and actually become a friend of his. So great follow if you want to stay grounded in the research when it comes to nutrition. So it's a wild west out there. There's too many gurus online trying to tell you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And I think that BioLane, specifically Lane Norton, keeps everything real. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this audio and getting a little bit more information about your joints and understanding a little bit more about how to take care of them. This is an add-on to the Empowered Movement book that I put out. The Empowered Movement book is all about how to basically enhance your mobility from a well-rounded perspective. The subtitle of it is basically a chiropractor's strategy for not needing a chiropractor. So I'm not really trying to put myself out of a job, but at the same time, there's just a lot of information that people need to know. And we understand that mobility and maintaining mobility and fitness is a nuanced game, but there's levels to it. And a lot of people go about it the wrong way. So I hope you try to snag that, or if you snagged this audiobook as part of that bundle, hey, good on you. So I appreciate you listening, and I hope you come back for more.
All right, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Health is Hard podcast. I hope you found some valuable tips to help you on your journey to a healthier, more fit, more resilient version of you. Remember, building a stronger, healthier you takes time, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who could benefit from the goods that were in this one. Be sure to check out the show notes for resources and a special offer from our sponsor, Element X Health and Fitness. As a listener, you can get my free 83-page Chiro Companion Mobility Guide when you visit elementxhfc.com. That's Element X, H as in health, F as in fitness, C as in culture. If you have questions, suggestions, or just want to connect, find me, Dr. Matt, on Instagram and TikTok at Dr. E Health, DRE Health, and Twitter at DREX Health. Let's keep this conversation going. Thank you for being part of the health and fitness culture we're building together. Keep putting in the work, stay consistent, and cheers to making health a little less hard today.